This is Paimon's Advocate. I feel like I missed some of the explanation of the light side, of why conflict is important. Spent a little bit too much time on the dark side to get really into the importance of conflict. You see, when we look at this conflict that we all have within us, that causes us to gain freedom, this is what separates us from the majority of other animals. Many other animals will be contented to have food and water and sleep, and that's all they will need. Some of the social animals may gain exercise, may play, but to actually seek conflict to the degree that human beings do, to be never satisfied like human beings are never satisfied, that's something very uniquely human. That is the concept that's so exciting and so fulfilling, this concept that makes us be able to be so free. It's boredom. It's boredom. This conflict-seeking ability, boredom, it's astounding. Think of this. You are some primal woman or man, and you have the food you need. You have the water you need. You've eaten. You've drank your fill. And you see something fall to the ground. And you wonder, why? Why do things fall to the ground instead of to the sky? And you begin to ask questions. You don't need to know these answers right away. It's not critical to your immediate survival to understand your environment to the extent that human beings look and try to understand our environment. To our individual survival, I don't have to know the person next door to me. Yet, we examine our entire society. We keep tabs on every single person to know what they're doing, and in some ways, it's tyrannical. In some ways, it goes too far. But in some ways, it's necessary to keep tabs on what everyone is doing, to understand our environment to that degree. It wasn't. On an individual level, it isn't. But it helps us to build society stronger and better in ways we don't even recognize when it's happening. Because of this concept of boredom and examining, worrying about things that are not immediate threats, we have adapted. And unfortunately dominated all other animals. Personally, I think that domination is hindering their evolutionary capabilities. But that's not the point. The point is, this boredom, it's our key, integral part of growth and development. Seeking conflict? Oh yes, that's necessary. And there is something that Stefan Molyneux gets very, very right. We have been raised soft. But in this instance, I think it's because we don't seek conflicts for our own sake. Say I disagree with you on the matter of evolution. You say evolution should not be taught in schools. I say that it should. That it's necessary to be taught in schools, and that creationism should not be in schools. The polite thing, according to society, is to simply not talk about that thing to you. But how is that polite thing helping anyone involved? Regardless of who is right and who is wrong, one of us is going to be better helped to adapt to our future if we debate this and keep open minds. If we talk about this and present evidence for both sides. Very difficult for the creationist, but if you can present evidence for the creationist side, then you are helping the evolutionist out. If you can present evolutionist evidence, you are helping the creationist out. Anytime you present someone with evidence of an opposing viewpoint, you are helping them out. Even if your viewpoint ends up being wrong, you help them with a thought process exercise. By helping them open their mind and see things from a different perception, you have allowed them to realize that nothing is sacred. Thinking that an idea is sacred, thinking that you cannot examine whether an idea is true or not, or consistent or not, thinking that it destroys the conflict within, the natural boredom about a subject that is integral to human beings. The boredom of the consistency of it. I was a Christian for a long period of time. And when I would go to service and hear the preacher preaching all the things that I believed, I was bored. I said, yes. So, what's new? How can we work on this? Is there another way to look at this? Is this the only way to look at this? These, of course, were heretical ideas. Looking at Christianity in a different way. It's a heretical idea. Even if I didn't plan on changing my viewpoints, and I did not. I just wanted to know if there was a different way to look at it because I was bored. And that's what people do. And we need to keep that boredom. We need to say I'm a relativist. And I am relatively relativist in actuality. And I see that Stefan Molyneux is calling out relativism and saying that it's not a good concept, it's a trap for skeptics to fall into. Clearly, what I should do is completely avoid Stefan Molyneux, right? Wrong. I need Stefan Molyneux. I need his different point of view. You need Stefan Molyneux if you have a different point of view. Much more than the people that agree with. Much, much more. Stefan Molyneux says that he is supported by the people who spend time promoting his videos or donating to him. Bullshit. Bullshit. You are supported, Stefan, by the people who disagree with you, who give you something to argue against. Those are the people that support you. The people who you are arguing against, those are your greatest supporters. And the Bible is the greatest book of evidence that atheists, omnitheists, agnostics, or any non-Christian can use against Christianity. The greatest thing you can have is someone who disagrees with you and argues logically. Because they give you the freedom of thought to examine your beliefs, to truly examine your beliefs. They give you a worthwhile conflict. Someone just saying, well, I don't believe in atheism. How is that helpful? That's a conflict. It's a very hollow conflict. But if they say, I don't believe in atheism because point A, point B, point C, evidence, which they don't usually have, right? It's very hard to make an argument against atheism. Because it's generally the argument that there ain't no God. It's a double negative. It's a double negative. And you sound like someone that's just stupid and saying there's not a God. See, I mean that metaphorically, of course. Because I'm not saying that Christians will literally come up and say there ain't no God, because everyone generally understands the meaning behind that's usually agreeing with an atheist. But when you say there is not no God, here's evidence of a God. Nothing you present is going to be strong enough. You can present evidence that there might be possibly a God. That's good evidence. That's at least the best evidence you can give. It's not really good evidence. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It's the best you can get. And yeah, I think there might possibly be able to be a God. In fact, I think all the gods exist all at the same time. That's something for another time. All of this has been something for another time. I really should snip a little bit of it. But I don't really have that software. Anyway, point is, conflict. You need it. You need someone with logical arguments to argue against. to be free.